Absolute Batman is back with issue number 12, and guys, things get pretty damn dark. If you thought Bruce went through it for the 3 months he got tortured, no. Bane puts his friends through hell. So prepare yourselves and let's get into it. So for those of you who don't remember, Bruce was tortured in the mysterious facility Ark M for 3 months. Every time he tried to escape, Bane would beat him to a pulp. During his final attempt, he was again being beaten, but his friend who had been turned into Killer Croc, Waylon Jones, helped him escape, and was even able to put Bane down, at least momentarily. And now we see them in the sewers, officially escaped, and Batman thanks him for saving him. But there's only one way Waylon wants this debt to be repaid. He saved Bruce, and now he wants Bruce to save him. Which isn't a problem. Bruce lets him know, I swear, I'll find a cure, but he's cut off. This is not what Waylon means. Not only was he turned into this thing, but now it seems he has an insatiable hunger, and it's causing him immense pain. All he wants Bruce to do is end his life. And Bruce does his best to prepare to stab Waylon in the head, to end his suffering, but he just can't do it. So Waylon tries to do it for him, grabbing his hand with the batarang and trying to force it in his own eye. But Bruce refuses to let his best friend die, kicking him in the face and stopping him from ending his own life, which pisses Waylon off, as he said he should have left him in Ark M, and he simply leaves, and Bruce screams, trying to let him know, we can beat this, we can do this together. But Waylon just doesn't see it that way, and I honestly understand how Waylon is reacting. The dude turned into a giant Killer Croc that has to eat something, and he obviously doesn't want to hurt anyone, doesn't want to be this. And even if Bruce can find a cure, it would take a while. He would be this for quite some time. Obviously he has completely given up, and Bruce refused to kill him. So it looks like this is how we'll get the rivalry between Killer Croc and Batman. He won't kill his friend, and Killer Croc is going to be forced to hurt some people with his insatiable hunger. Bruce of course will try and stop him from hurting anyone. Waylon won't be able to control himself, and Bruce will actively be trying to search for a cure. And in some way, I'm sure Waylon blames Bruce for being turned into this. Now let's get into what happens to the rest of Bruce's friends, or future rogues gallery. But first we start with Selina Kyle and Bruce in a brief flashback, and we actually understand why a few issues ago, when Bruce was supposed to tell Waylon he could not beat the current champion in a fight, he decided not to. He decided to hide how he felt and tell Waylon he could win, and he pushed his friend towards greatness, and he worked him hard so that he could try and defeat this champion. It's because of this conversation here, as Bruce lets Selina know, although he's supposed to tell Waylon he can't win, he knows Waylon's not going to listen to him. So Selina changes her tune as she tells him, then help him win. If the rules aren't fair, stop playing by them. So now we see why Bruce got a new resolve, and he made sure his friend could be pushed towards greatness. But things are no longer sunshine and roses like they were here. Their problems are much bigger now, as we catch back up with Bruce after his confrontation with Waylon, and we see he's been in a coma for 20 days, as Alfred tries to catch him up on what he's missed. But more importantly, he tries to let Bruce know what's going on with his body. See, that torture they had him go through for 3 months, it did something that may be irreversible. See, where you see these green lines all over Bruce's body connecting to his brain, this is a delivery system woven into his spine and brain, all loaded with venom. I'm not sure how this could ever be removed from his body. This may just be a part of him now. And this isn't the only bad news Bruce gets, as Alfred tries to let him know what he did, getting into Ark M, the torture, meeting Bane. Things are deeper now. He's not just the Batman. He's in a war he doesn't really comprehend. Things have gotten serious, and although Bruce tries to brush this off because he needs to leave, he puts on a disguise. He's been gone for like 4 months now. Soon he will understand why Alfred said this. He will understand what it truly means. And immediately as Bruce starts to leave, we see how the venom is affecting him. It seems to periodically shoot through his body, causing him immense pain. And I have my own theory on how this may affect Bruce that I'll be talking about in a different video, but this could be a good thing. This could be the way he actually defeats Bane and becomes a better Batman. But for now, Bruce is looking for one person, his mother. She has been missing him for months now, and she needs to see if he's okay. And Bruce is finally about to give her that peace. And as she realizes it's her son, she slaps the shit out of him, of course, but then she holds him and she's just so happy he's alive. And she would probably be mortified if he took all his clothes off and that hat and she saw what really happened to him for all these months. But as she's explaining to Bruce how she did not want that phone call again, especially after what happened to Ozzy, Bruce gets concerned. What happened to Ozzy? And you guys can let me know in the comments as we go through all of his friends, who do you guys think got it the worst? I think it was Ozzy in my opinion. Let's just get into it. So Bruce gets to the hospital where he's surrounded by police, and he and Gordon talk for a little bit as he thanks him for watching over his mother. And as Gordon lets him know he's family and no thanks are in order, if he were commissioner, he'd arrest Bruce right now, because clearly Bruce doesn't look okay either. But because Bullock is a commissioner, as a favor to Gordon, he's allowing Bruce to see his friend. But as Bruce walks by one of the police, they say, "What's left of him?" And then as he tries to walk in to see what happened with Ozzy, Dr. Tompkins tries to stop him and asks him if anyone has warned him about Ozzy's condition. And we finally see why everyone is talking about Ozzy in this way. Ozzy was beaten and beaten and beaten and beaten by Bane, turned into this. I will show you guys what he used to look like, but Bane beat him to a pulp. He essentially turned Ozzy into a giant wound. He is nothing but flesh and mush and just nothing. I couldn't even tell this was Ozzy until I looked close enough at the nose. But we're about to see exactly how he was able to beat Ozzy into this without killing him. See, last issue we saw Bane break into the gym and run into Bruce's friends, and the first person to speak up was Ozzy. And Bane shut that shit down fast as he tells him, "You want so badly to be big, don't you? The pink gym raw muscles, the lifts in your shoes," as he slammed him to the ground and beat him and beat him and beat him. As someone as big and as strong as Bane standing over someone as tiny as Ozzy and smashing him full force over a dozen times, yeah, this did some damage, but it gets worse as Tompkins explains the injuries. She says they broke nearly every bone in Oswald's body, some in multiple places, but somehow they did it in a way that missed each vital organ. It was precise, surgical, cruel beyond measure. If Oswald lives, he'll be almost 2 feet shorter, and his hands, his feet. And you guys saw from the picture, his legs are kind of fused. Obviously his fingers needed to be fused. His feet are super fat and they're fused too. So he'll be super short with a waddle and a long nose. Absolute Bane turned Oswald into Absolute Penguin through a vicious and calculated beating. But this is not where the bad news stops. See, Bruce is ready to be a good friend, to say he'll do everything he can to help Oswald. And he decides to ask if Harvey stopped by. As Tompkins says, "Harvey, did they not tell you?" And as Bruce tries to ask, all she says is, "Harvey's in the next room." And she starts to explain his injuries too. "It's bad, Bruce. 3rd to 4th degree burns across the left side of his body. Straight 50%. But worse, they crushed his skull, cracked it down the center. When the police found him, his head was basically lying in 2 separate parts." But before she can continue with what's going on with him, we see him actually able to speak as he tries to communicate with Bruce, reminding him of a cop that used to chase them around as kids, no matter how stealthy they used to be. As we now get the image of what happened to Harvey when he tried to protect Oswald while Bane was brutalizing him. So he grabbed a bottle and said, "Get off of him." And Bane is able to read Harvey just like he read Ozzy. Let me guess, the big brother of this little group, the protector. And yet, as we see him Hulk thunderclap Harvey right on his head, this is probably what split his goddamn brain. Honestly, the way they drew this, it looks like he straight up decapitated him. As we see Harvey in the hospital bed explaining more about the cop they knew as kids, as he tells Bruce this cop had a real special hatred for Harvey. As we continue to see what Bane said to Harvey after smashing his face in and lighting him on fire. He tells him, "You're also destined to be the traitor because your friends, they're all outlaws, and you, with your principles, your ambitions, those eyes." As Harvey continues to tell Bruce about that cop and what he told him, "You stick with these losers, they'll bring you down hard." And man, did those words haunt Harvey as we see how he's been brought down hard. As Bane continues, "You established this ritual long ago, didn't you? This poker game, a safe place where the stakes are void, where you can be both forever outlaw and lawman, friend and enemy, a microcosm, gambling for plastic coins, all pretend." As we see both halves of Harvey say, he was right. And man, this could mean so many things. Clearly he's talking about that cop being right as Harvey has been brought down to his lowest point, but also Bane. Bane was right too. This was all pretend. As we see Harvey get burned and he continues to talk about the cop. "I heard he's retired somewhere. Flash. Metropolis, Gateway City, I should look him up." And Bruce, he feels terrible about all of this, ready to say it was his fault. But just like I said a few issues ago, one way or another, his friends are going to blame him. And we see Harvey definitely blames him as he says, "Yes, it is. You gambled for real, Bruce. Put it all out there. Your friends, the city, everything. All the chips. Now get out of here. If it's any consolation though, I only hate you half the time." God damn, was the writing for this part amazing. So now we see Absolute Penguin in a very brutal way absolute Two-Face, absolute Killer Croc, but now it's time to see Bruce's final friend, Eddie Nigma. What did Bane do to him? And honestly, the Eddie situation is a little odd compared to the others. See, he is not in the hospital. He's not in a room next to Harvey and Ozzy. He was brutalized, but nowhere near as severely as them. At least that's what I'd say, but let him tell it, it was worse. As Bruce walks in and we see the robot that Ozzy had with all the information on the planet taken apart. And Bruce seems to be happy as he says, "Thank God, I thought maybe he hurt you." And Eddie responds, No, he didn't hurt me. In fact, he was very gentlemanly. He challenged me to a friendly battle of wits, said if I won, he'd let me kill him. He even handed me his guns. Can you believe it? And Bruce is getting increasingly confused as he continues to approach Eddie, who was covered in shadow. And one thing you guys gotta remember is outside of the giant physical amp the Venom gives you, it also makes you unbelievably smart, impossibly smart. So as intelligent as Nigma was, he truly stood no chance, as he says it took Bane only 1 minute to defeat him in this battle of wits. I'll bet you like riddles is exactly what Bane said to Eddie, as we see what Eddie did to himself. His scalp has been peeled back, and his brain has tubes connected to it, the tubes that were connected to the robot that had all the information on the planet. Eddie has brutalized himself to make himself more intelligent after losing this battle against Bane. But losing did not have Eddie go unscathed. He did take some damage, as he puts his fingers into Eddie's eyes, puts his entire hand into Eddie's mouth, causing him to bleed, and we see exactly what he did for his victory. He continued to shake Eddie like a newborn baby, as Eddie explains, and before I knew it, he was shaking my head, slamming the front of my brain into my skull. The frontal lobe, the part responsible for intelligence. Bang, it was wild, Bruce. Like bang, and suddenly facts became questions. Bang, questions everywhere. So sure, he took less physical damage, but it broke him like it broke all of Bruce's friends. Somehow Bane knew exactly how to hurt all of these people, and man was this sad. So not only did he prove that he was far more intelligent than Eddie, but then he lowered Eddie's intelligence to be a fraction of what it used to be, causing him to do this, to mutilate himself just to gain that intelligence back. And with Eddie so broken, we see how he views what happened between him and Bane. No, Bruce, he didn't hurt me at all. He helped me. He was challenging me. Maybe he was challenging all of us to become more, to become what we're meant to be. Which, although it's pretty crazy to say and it's obviously coming from a broken man, in a way he is right, because these guys were destined to be the absolute versions of their OG villains. But my god, was it in such a worse way, as we see Eddie's full injuries. Since he doesn't have any eyeballs, we see he's replaced his sockets with the robot sockets, and we see he's even fitted the robot head on top of his own, and it looks like he's continuing to build it, probably so he can feed himself the information he needs to still be intelligent. And as Bruce tries to get Eddie to a hospital, we see the venom starting to affect him as well, as Eddie tells him, looks like he challenged you too. So riddle me this, Bruce, what are you gonna do about it? As Bruce looks determined to get this all fixed. But this is far beyond repair. His friends are just done. And with how morbid this issue has been, I repeat, I do not see a way Bruce finally gets confronted by Bane and he doesn't kill Bane. I know the whole Batman no-kill rule thing, although Bruce has already taken it pretty far in this universe, like what he did to Black Mask. But after all of this, I just can't see him defeating Bane and putting some cuffs on that guy. Bane has to go. He is too strong, too intelligent, and far too dangerous. As we get to another flashback between Bruce and Selina, as they're here to meet Falcone and strike up a deal with him. See, Falcone is the manager of the current champion, Bibbo, the person that's supposed to fight Killer Croc, at least before he became that monster. And Falcone is laughing at the two of them, thinking they're here to make a deal for Bibbo to go easy on Croc. But it turns out that's not exactly what they're doing, but we don't get to see the intricacies of this plan as we get back to the present with Batman now fully suited, telling a gang called the Red Hood Gang to stand down and that it's all off. Now I don't know if I missed something, I don't think I did. I don't remember him ever working alongside these people or even creating this group in the first place. But clearly there have been some kind of background alliance that Bruce had with this gang and he doesn't want them operating anymore. But we don't get any more information on this as it looks like Bruce is about to give up. I mean, Bruce is really tormented by the fact that his friends have been broken in such a permanent way. As Alfred simply agrees, that's right, he did break your friends, but the question is, are you going to let him break you? And like he said earlier in the issue, Bruce is in it now, as he says, you chose this, Bruce, I told you, you're in it now, everything has changed, and there's no going back, there's only through. So get ready, because it's only gonna get But before it can continue to lecture Bruce, someone has broken into the Batcave. It looks like Bane has finally come to confront Bruce, and it's time for him to go up against Bruce and Alfred. And we see it's actually someone else who has broken into this Batcave, as we see a whip or maybe a tail crawling up one of the pillars, sneaking up on Alfred as it strangles him and someone punches and kicks him, immediately knocking him unconscious. Which is crazy because if this was Bane, Alfred would be fucking useless. But this isn't Bane. It turns out this is Selina Kyle, who is now absolute Catwoman. And we finally see her debut in this issue. And this is where the issue ends. So I do hope you guys enjoyed it. I really did like this. It's just so sad what happened to Bruce's friends. But maybe Selina is actually going to help Bruce get rid of Bane along with Alfred. Maybe the three of them could finally stand a chance. I just think it's crazy that the most important villain, at least so far, is Bane from Batman's Rogues Gallery. This is the scariest and most intense I've ever seen this character portrayed. And also when it comes to Catwoman's odd design here with this giant bulbous helmet with the ears sticking out, I believe, of course, is not very appealing, but in the context of this universe, that maybe she's one of the party animals, because maybe everybody forgot how Absolute Black Mask looks. He also just had a bulb. I know the other party animals had like gorilla masks, but he didn't, so it makes me wonder if she's a part of the party animals. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know how you felt about the issue, and I will catch you guys on the next one.